Meghan Markle here.
Today is April 14, 2025. It is 2:58 a.m., almost 3 o'clock. So I just finished edit whatever I recorded yesterday, and I quickly put a list together, and we are gonna focus on Harry's security. Still, there are some new discussions that the squad were talking about. I wasn't really on Twitter that much, but I quickly scanned through Twitter to grab some really good information, some tweets that I should share with you, and to also inform myself. And there are about 6 tweets. I don't know if later on I might add to it, and I may not even get a chance to record it tonight. Regarding Meghan on Broadway, a little bit more positive things. But that will be on PYTE. But this one will be over here on APTS Sussex regarding Harry's security and the royal family. Okay, so this is the numbers. New subscribers, welcome. And this is the number for analytics. 3,208 views in the last 48 hours. So let's go on Twitter. I believe this is the first one, right? Let me make sure. And I think this article, I might read it to get a little different perspective, and the link will be in the description just in case if I decided to stop in the middle of reading the article. Alright, so let's see here. Prince Harry offered to pay for police protection. The palace said no. Prince Andrew kept his for years after a £12 million sex scandal. That's the Virginia Giuffre thing. And I think sometime last week, there was, I didn't really cover it on my channels, about Virginia Giuffre, who was in a car accident, and they said she has whatever amount of time to live. So I don't know if it's true or not, and I haven't heard much about it on Twitter since then. So if I hear anything about it, or if I feel like searching for it, I'll keep you up to date. But I don't know if it's true or false, but there was that discussion sometime last week regarding her being hit by a bus. I don't know if it's a school bus or something like that. Okay, but let's get back to this. Camilla got security, trust funds, and Harry's old room. Diana's son left to fend for himself. Make it make sense. All right, so this is the article. I have it open, and then I'll come back to read some of the comments. Okay, the link will be in the description. Why Prince Harry's family still faces UK security barriers years after royal exit. During his legal fight over family protection, Prince Harry said the UK security decision affecting him and his family, the family that he's talking about, that's him, Meghan, Archie, and Lilibet, okay, has confirmed his worst fears. Speaking after a 2-day hearing at London's Royal Court of Justice, he revealed that the removal of police protection wasn't just punitive, it was a strategic move to trap him and Meghan within the royal system. Behind closed doors, what he uncovered left him shaken. He called the process exhausting and overwhelming, adding that some of the details were personally devastating. I guess this is why he went to the UK to be there in person, because he knew there were information that was gonna be released, but not to the public. Because if he was seeing it, let's say, I don't know, Zoom maybe, there might be some leak somewhere, so they didn't want these to be televised, so he had to be in person to hear what was going on, so they could have control. Okay, the court in the UK could have control of what was being put out there. So the second day, it was somewhat private, I believe, and it was not being recorded for the public to see. All right, so let's continue. When Harry and Meghan announced they will step back from royal duties in January 2020, Queen Elizabeth's private secretary insisted that their safety remained a priority. But within weeks, now with this, I know I did a review from the Telegraph. This is also another one as well. But this part here, there's an article that I read that when Charles and Andrew remove I think Lord Gates, that was the original private secretary for the Queen, and put Edward Young as a replacement, because Lord Gates was not letting Charles and Andrew get what they want. So the time frame needs to be a little bit more clearer for me, and I cannot tell you because I do not know when, but it could have been while Harry and Meghan were there, or was it before they got married? It has to be while they were working royals, because they wanted more information within or control. It has to be that. What I mean by that is that when Harry and Meghan had already married between 2018 and 2019, before they left, while Harry and Meghan were working royals, it has to be that's when the switch of the private secretary. I'm trying to think because I do not have the specific date. Maybe I could search it. Let me pause for a second. Okay, so that was a long question that I asked Google. When did Charles and Andrew remove Lord Gates? I think I did spell it right. Lord Gates, and place Edward Young as Queen. Okay, that's the whole thing. And place Edward Young as the Queen private secretary. Okay, so this is the response here. Lord Christopher Gate was replaced as the Queen private secretary by Sir Edward Young in October 2017. So that was slightly before Meghan got married. They got married in 2018. While Prince Charles and Andrew were reportedly involved in the decision-making process regarding new appointments, Gates' departure was replaced to his own retirement after 10 years in the role. Okay, Young became private secretary in 2017, and Gates' retirement as private. They say retirement, but the article sort of explained in full details. Okay, just look at the screen at what I'm making reference to, because Lord Gates was not putting up with Charles and Andrew. So they put their heads together to remove him. So this is the facade they're putting, the thing they're putting out there for people. But that article that I read pretty much explained it in full detail. Okay? As private secretary, Young also served as keeper of the Royal Archive and a trustee of the Royal Collection Trust. Okay? So it was 2017. I completely missed that. So it seems like they were getting ready because they know they could not get whatever they want from Gates. So before Harry and Meghan got married, they quickly removed him so they could put someone within the circle of the Queen so they could keep the Queen in the dark. And the other thing that came to mind as I'm looking at the dates here, 2017, Edward Young was there, and Edward Young is like a yes sir for Charles, and whatever Charles said, I mean, the Queen was like a figure, okay? And Edward Young was to keep the Queen in the dark, so to speak, so not to let her know certain things. That's what I got from that article. So which means when that sort of answered my question as well. When I believe when Meghan and Harry were getting married, the design of the veil was around Princess Diana's tiara. So, and also they put William's godmother as they have a name for it, someone to help Meghan. They have a specific name for it. So I used to say that she probably was the one who told the Queen. Yeah, she could still be the one who told the Queen or William's camp or Charles' camp about what was going on in Harry and Meghan's camp, that they were going to use Princess Diana's tiara. So when that happened, William's godmother, in my humble opinion, told Charles and William about Princess Diana's tiara was gonna be used in Harry's wedding, and now they probably inform Edward Young to tap into the Queen and ask the Queen to offer Meghan to use one of her tiaras. So that's the full circle of it that I sort of got looking at the dates now. Because I was like, what? How did they know? Or why did they offer her to wear the Queen's tiara or something? But at the end of the day, Meghan chose one of the Queen's tiara. And then they made a whole bunch of mess once Meghan chose that tiara. I'm telling you, these people, they love trouble. They love unnecessary problem. But okay, the whole reason that I came here to search was, when did the switch of the private secretary happen? It was October 2017. So that's the date. I need to take a screenshot of this for record purposes. I'm copying all of this just in case I decided to put it in one of my videos. I'll save it later. All right, so back to this. All right, when Harry and Meghan announced they will step back from royal duties in January 2020, Queen Elizabeth's private secretary, which by now is Edward Young, insisted that their safety remained a priority. But within weeks, that commitment was reversed. Okay, so this is the thing here. All right, they reversed it and took their security right under them. Remember, they give them 1 year like a review period to think about their decision and things like that. And while they're thinking about that, they remove their security to add to their burden, to add to their unnecessary troubles that the royal family was putting on them. Okay? On February 28, 2020, the Royal and VIP Executive Committee, RAVIC, decided the Sussexes will lose their 24/7 taxpayers-funded security. Meanwhile, we have, I think before Charles married Camilla, she got security, and I think their kids got security and all of that. May not be security, but some extra perks that comes by being knowing Charles. Okay, so let's see here. Did I read that? Where was I? Security. The UK government protective security system is rigorous and proportionate. This was in defense of RAVIC's decision to provide Harry with a bespoke security arrangement assessed on a case-by-case basis rather than automatic protection given to working royals. Okay? There's that. I'm thinking of Camilla, who was not working royal, but she got protection. Prince Andrew kept security while Prince Harry lost his in weeks. Prince Andrew was allowed to retain his royal title and £300,000 a year taxpayers-funded bodyguard long after stepping back from public life. Okay, so they're making the comparison. They were not consistent with the nonsense that they were saying about why they pulled Harry's security. While Prince Harry and Meghan Sussex were stripped of their official protection and forced to pay for their own security, despite stepping down in November 2019 due to his association with Jeffrey Epstein, Andrew continues to receive full-time police protection until late 2022. There was something that I was thinking. Despite stepping back, let's not forget they keep on leaving some little details in between. Even though Harry then blamed his family for their stepping back.
The decision that I have made for my wife and I to step back is not one I made lightly. It was so many months of talks after so many years of challenges. And I know I haven't always gotten it right, but as far as this goes, there really was no other option. I was born into this life, and it is a great honour to serve my country and the Queen. I will always have the utmost respect for my grandmother, my Commander-in-Chief, and I'm incredibly grateful to her and the rest of my family for the support they have shown Meghan and I over the last few months.
But let's not forget the Simon Case situation, where William hired Simon Case to write the exit process for Harry. Okay, documented it, and Harry mentioned it in his book Spare. Okay.
Began to address Granny about the 5 options. Your Majesty, you've seen the 5 options? Yes, she said. We all had. They'd been emailed to us. 5 different ways of proceeding. Option 1 was continuance of the status quo. Meg and I don't leave. Everyone tries to go back to normal. Option 5 was full severance. No royal role, no working for Granny, and total loss of security. Option 3 was somewhere in between, a compromise, closest to what we'd originally proposed. I told everyone assembled that, above all, I was desperate to keep security. That was what worried me most, my family's physical safety. I wanted to prevent a repeat of history, another untimely death like the one that had rocked this family to its core 23 years earlier, and from which we were still trying to recover. I'd consulted with several palace veterans, people who knew the inner workings of the monarchy and its history, and they all said option 3 was best for all parties. Meg and I living elsewhere part of the year, continuing our work, retaining security, returning to Britain for charities, ceremonies, events. Sensible solution, these palace veterans said, and eminently doable. But the family, of course, pushed me to take option 1. Barring that, they would only accept option 5. We discussed the 5 options for nearly an hour. At last, the bee got up and went round the table, handing out a draft of a statement the palace would soon be releasing, announcing implementation of option 5. Wait, I'm confused. You've already drafted a statement? Before any discussion? Announcing option 5? In other words, the fix was in this whole time? This summit was just for show? No answer.
And then when Harry went to Sandringham, thinking that he's going to discuss his exit process, how he's going to do it, whether half in and or half out, everything was already written on a document. All Harry had to do is to agree to it. Was to show up, not even agree, was to show up to keep up with the facade, the narrative for the public. They just wanted him to show up to pretend that they're working with Harry and things like that. So the Sandringham summit was some sort of a facade for the public, to make the public believe as if the royal family are working really hard to keep Harry, to protect Harry and all of that. That was the facade. But in the background, they were working all sort of things to push him out and destroy him all sort of ways. Okay? So that's that. But they're keeping that out. They're not mentioning it. Okay? And this is why Harry is going to court. Alright? He's spending some of his money to go to court because these people are putting the facade for the public. They're not telling the public the full story. Report from the Telegraph, I think that's the one that I read, and the Guardian confirmed that the Metropolitan Police in Warwick only withdrew his armed security after a series of damning development. He had ceased public duties. Okay, they're talking about Andrew. Lost all honorary military titles and royal patronages by January 2022 and reached a multi-million pound settlement with Virginia Godfrey the following month. His security was officially withdrawn in December 2022. In stark contrast, Prince Harry's security was revoked within weeks of his 2020 exit, voted for him to get out, even though he was still performing royal duties at this time. And I think they used the timestamp when they did that appearance with when Meghan wore all red, sort of match with Harry's uniform. All right. He was also denied right to privately fund police protection for himself and his family. Meanwhile, you have Taylor Swift, Kate Moss, I think that was her, who had hired police protection for their whatever event. I think for Kate Moss was her wedding back, a couple years back. And then Taylor Swift, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, who got police protection because of her concert. Okay, this decision came before any risk assessment was conducted. According to a source speaking to Byline Times, the removal was a form of control. Senior royals reportedly believe that taking away protection will force the couple to return to the UK and the institution. What followed was a calculated media campaign, an assault, as insiders described it, against Harry, Meghan, and their wider circle. Charles and William's silence speaks volumes. But they're talking to all sort of publication.
Institutional role, why be so public? You say you tried to do this privately.
And every single time I've tried to do it privately, there have been briefings and leakings and planting of stories against me and my wife. You know, the family motto is never complain, never explain, but it's just a motto. And it doesn't really hold.
There's a lot of complaining and a lot of explaining.
Endless.
Private being done through leaks.
Through leaks. They will feed or have a conversation with the correspondent, and that correspondent will literally be spoon-fed information and write the story, and in the bottom of it they will say that they've reached out to Buckingham Palace for comment. But the whole story is Buckingham Palace commenting. So when we're being told for the last 6 years we can't put a statement out to protect you, but you do it for other members of the family, there becomes a point when silence is betrayal.
Throughout the security crisis, King Charles and Prince William have stayed publicly silent, yet Prince Harry has been clear. He believed his father could have intervened. Sir Clive Alderton, I believe that's him here, Charles' most senior aide, sit on Warwick. This is why Harry was like, he was surprised. Why these people who work for the firm, for the royal family, are also in Warwick. In one of the videos that I did, I sort of compare it. Okay, different, let's say government office. That should be the proper word. Different government office. Let's say the NYPD, for instance. Okay, and FBI. Yes, they do with security and all of that. Or maybe the Secret Service, you could say. Secret Service and FBI, for instance. Okay, Secret Service work with the White House, the president, and then the FBI pretty much in general for the country as a whole, for the federal government, right? But some people in the White House also work for the FBI. Okay, I'm using the US system sort of way, the way that I understand it. All right, some people who work for the White House also work for the FBI, and they somewhat have special interests. All right, so if the president wants to know what's going on with the FBI, so whoever he has working for him at the White House, who's also at the FBI, could get those information. That's how I see with the Warwick and the royal family. Okay. Sir Clive Alderton, Charles' most senior aide, this guy, sit on Warwick, the very body that determines royal security. Still, Buckingham Palace maintains that the king plays no role in those decisions. Okay, so there's that. Sir Clive Alderton, Principal Private Secretary to King Charles III, attends the annual Commonwealth Day service celebration at Westminster Abbey on March 10, 2025 in London. Okay, so that's him. All right. So if Charles wanted for Harry to get security, he would have gotten. All right. But at the heart of this isn't just bureaucratic maneuvering. It's personal neglect. After Harry and Meghan lost their security, Charles didn't call. For 6 weeks, he failed to check on their well-being. Okay, I think on the docuseries on Netflix, Harry mentioned that. That's when Tyler Perry got involved, and once they were aware, the palace was aware where Harry and Meghan were in Canada, they sent people right at their freaking front door. Just go watch the docuseries. I don't know which episode it was in. People coming at their front door. And then that's when Tyler Perry got involved and gave them his private jet to usher them out of Canada and then to California. Okay, and give them his place to stay for as long as they wanted.
I never knew I would know a prince and a princess. That wasn't even what that was about. What I was reaching out to her for was because they were giving her hell. Right. And a lot of it was because she was a black woman. Absolutely. And I flat out, no denying it, I completely knew that, and I wanted to reach out and let her know that there was somebody there for her. Mm-hmm. And I sent her a note, and not expecting anything to come of it. And she said, thank you so much, and that was it. And a couple of years later, we started talking, and she was able to talk. And the only reason I'm sharing this is because she shared it first.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we were able to talk, and she was telling me some of the things that were going on. And I'm just so proud of where they are now, because two people love each other. Mm. I don't care what anybody says, I'm seeing it up close, and you can't fool me.
Yeah,
I got the Holy Ghost. Okay. You can't fool me. I know what's real. They really genuinely love each other. So I'm just so happy to see where they are now.
And then during that time, while they left Canada, Charles did not call to know if they're okay or whatever. He did not call. All right. So now you're telling me Princess Diana did not want security after the divorce?
In October 1996, Princess Diana flew to Italy to be given a medal for her contribution to humanitarian work, especially in the field of public health. When she had attempted to withdraw from public life back in 1993, she had insisted on her Scotland Yard bodyguards being permanently removed, apparently because she was worried that they might be spying on her. But without royal protection, Princess Diana was increasingly being thrown to the lions.
Okay, so they're revealing themselves each day at a time. Okay, all these, and let's keep in mind as well, we are uncovering all of this is due to court documents, court information, even though I'm reading that article, but keep in mind, these are information that is being released in court. Harry did not go to the tabloid to tell them about all of these stuff. Okay, and now you will hear the media in the UK saying, oh, Harry's gonna go to the media and talk all of that. The Oprah interview was to clear, for those who are brand new, the Oprah interview, from my humble opinion, was to clear all those headlines, misinformation that the tabloids were writing about Harry and Meghan when they were working royals, and the royal family was preventing them from defending themselves. So once they left, they clear all those headlines, including Meghan made Kate cry and all those other things. Okay, so now Harry is going to court to reveal all of the information that we are aware now. How his security was removed, who was behind it, people who's working in different places with special interests, and all of that. Okay, so keep that in mind. It's to court document, court information. All right. He then offered to cover their protection costs despite having a personal fortune estimated at over £345 million. This indifference reflects a larger pattern. The idea that the royal family is politically neutral has long been a myth. In 2001, then Prince Charles condemned the European Convention on Human Rights as compensation culture. Westminster insiders widely knew Queen Elizabeth II opposed Scottish independence. And let's not forget as well, I don't know if they mentioned it somewhere in any other articles, but when certain, I guess, Parliament is gonna enact certain laws, okay, before they sign off to it or something like that, from what I understand, they usually give the Queen at that time, maybe Charles now too, okay, to get a peek at it, to look at it, how it is benefit them or disbenefit, don't benefit them. And then they could make them tweak it a little bit. Either they could be not part of it or something like that. So they have the option. They are involved in politics as much as any politician is. But when certain laws are being implementing, they made sure if it's to their benefit, okay, so they could be part of it. If it's not to their benefit, they make sure to rewrite it in a way to make sure, okay, they're not affected by it. All right, just look at the screen. There's some stuff from past articles that I've read. Okay, and wanted to block Turkey from joining the EU. These weren't offhand remarks. They reflected clear political preferences, cloak and royal entitlement, and they exposed the fiction that the monarchy operates above the fray. The security system was designed to fail Harry. Unlike his brother, Prince Harry was singled out for a bespoke security process. It requires him to provide 30 days. It was 28. From what I understand, I don't know if they changed the numbers now. It was 28 days notice that I was aware of. Okay, it requires him to provide a 30 days notice for any UK visit, with protection granted only if deemed necessary. The system considers the reason for his trip a factor Harry has highly called plainly irrelevant. Due to ongoing security concerns tied to Prince Harry's UK visit plans, the current framework makes travel nearly impossible and even caused him to miss a close friend's wedding. Meanwhile, former prime ministers like Liz Truss, she was prime minister for 45 days. Okay? Liz Truss, who famously lasted less time in office than a supermarket cabbage. Oh my God. Who famously lasted less time in office than a supermarket cabbage, still enjoy automatic police protection without question. Okay? 45 days. Okay? 45 days she was in office. Alright, so that's when the Queen met her. Alright, they blocked security for Archie and Lilibet too. In September 2022, during a planned trip to London, Prince Harry and Meghan Sussex requested security arrangement so they could safely bring Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet to the UK just days before Queen Elizabeth II passed away. They requested official security support for the visit. Warwick denied the request even after being informed the trip will soon be public. Wow. I didn't know about that. I know the Queen had given them the public the security, but I didn't know all of this. Let me read it again. In September 2022, during a planned trip to London, Prince Harry and Meghan Sussex requested security arrangement so they could safely bring Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet to the UK just days before Queen Elizabeth II passed away. They requested official security support for the visit. Warwick denied the request, even after being informed the trip will soon be public. Wow. Harry's legal team later described the decision as plainly inadequate. Despite this, the Home Office refused to revisit the ruling. Wow. These people are freaking cruel. And I think when Harry mentioned it to the Queen, probably, this is why they put Edward Young in there. They switched with Ludgate. Without proper protection, the family could safely attend public events or move freely within the country. And the other thing as well, with not providing the security when they know Prince Archie was coming, is that they want to say things. Like, for instance, they did say, oh, Charles did not meet Harry's, the grandkids and all of that. Meanwhile, it takes two. Harry was reaching out to them. Okay, he live in New York. He live in the States. He was reaching out to them in all sort of possible ways. But it takes two. If the other one doesn't want to, the other party, the royal family, now that the Queen is gone, don't want to reach out, don't want to mend or anything like that. So you can blame Harry for not trying. But I think this is out the window now, because now Harry is finding out more information after that the appeal. Without proper protection, the family can't safely attend public events or move freely within the country. Instead of celebrating milestone or introducing their children to their British heritage, Harry and Meghan were forced to remain out of sight. My God. All right, so there's all of the headlines here. Okay, a collage of press headlines highlights the removal of Prince Harry and Meghan's security, alleged royal retaliation, and racism within UK institutions. So there's some of the headlines here. Every time a headline appears about King Charles wanting to see his American grandchildren, remember this. Okay, I didn't even know they were going to mention this. Okay, Harry's lawsuit exposed that he tried to bring his children to the UK but was blocked due to security failures. I didn't even see this. I didn't even know he mentioned that. Okay? Just when I mentioned it, it was right there. Alright? He wasn't asking for favors. He offered to pay for the armed and intelligence-backed police protection himself because the credible threat against his family, the system said that his father sit on top of said no. Wow. And the other thing as well. The other thing that I'm getting here, this is not to make excuse for Charles, because he should understand his position. He's been in training for almost 70-something years for that position. The moment he was born, he was being trained for that position. He should have known the power that he possesses. And that goes back to some of all the other information that I've said, other things that I've said in past videos, since the Queen father passed, and then they send Queen Elizabeth overseas, and then they were trying to mold Charles, okay, to what he has become, a weak king. Okay? Make him afraid of things. All of this play a role in that, in my humble opinion. What I think is happening here, this is not to make an excuse for him, and he should have known his power, is that those men in gray suit, just like what's happening in the US, the same group of people with the Trump people, the MAGAs, they are in control of things. Scaring him, make him afraid, so they're pretty much in control of what's going on here. Now, if Charles had waken up to his senses to know the leverage, the power that he possessed, he could put a stop to that. But by now, it's a bit too late. So what's happening here is that those people are afraid of Harry. Harry was the only one in the warfare. They were trying to mold him as well. Harry as well. This is a different branch of things I have said in the past. They were trying to mold Harry. The drug thing, put him under all sort of influence and things like that. They could not mold Harry. The only people they got, okay, Charles, since the queen became queen, and they shipped the queen overseas to do all sort of engagement overseas, so Charles could stay in the UK while they molding him to be a weak king. And then there's Princess Diana. There's another thing I have said in the past, because I have new subscribers almost every day. Now, when Princess Diana came along, who's putting human touch into those kids, Harry and William, and to understand the real suffering, the lives of real people that goes on outside of the palace wall, teaching those boys, Harry and William, what it is like to live outside of the palace wall. That was a big no-no for the men in grey suit, those MAGA type of people in the UK. It was a big no-no. And then they probably influenced Charles. Okay, we already know Charles didn't even want to marry her. But whatever. It happened. And then we see what happened to Princess Diana. Now, there's William, who was trying to be, Princess Diana was trying to teach William and Harry how to understand people emotion, empathy, the things that Elon Musk was saying. I mentioned it not too long ago. Oh my God. Every time I say it, I have to look for the screenshot of it. How empathy play, lack of empathy play in the mind of racist, this type of thing. So when Princess Diana was teaching William how to understand people's emotion, feelings, sorrow, hardship, all those things that all of us face because we do not have money growing on tree, just like the royal family, the taxpayers' money. Okay, so Princess Diana was teaching that to the boys, William and Harry. So to remove that out of William's system, this is what happened to Princess Diana. Now they reprogram William to be that same type of idiotic, savage type of what we are seeing now. They don't report it, but the squad who've been following know about it. There were some tweets that I have while he was on vacation on France, while Charles went to Italy and something like that. I still have the list, but I decided not to waste my time to record it. But the squad knows. Okay? The things that they probably put in his head, that when Harry gets older, he's going to be drinking, smoking, doing pot, all sort of negative things, which Harry was doing at a younger age. When Harry and William are doing joint interviews, these type of things come out of William's mouth easily. Because I think, in my humble opinion, that's what they were telling him. They were telling William, this is what your brother will be. And they were trying to make Harry be exactly that. And this is why I said, who were providing Harry with all of those drugs that the tabloid were reporting about. And we find out, at least I did, who within his circle was selling drugs, ecstasy, and clubs and all of that. As I'm saying this, just look on the screen. So the narrative, the character, or whatever the role that those men in gray suit had for each individuals were being played out. Just like when Meghan married Harry, they had a role for her. Unfortunately, Meghan and Harry were not playing that part. And let's give Harry prop, because after his mother died, even though he went into that full disarray, and we see the things in the tabloid, the derangers love to flash it back in our face that he's a junkie and all of that. But when you look at Harry now and compare it to the past, I have to give him a pass. Okay? He changed his life. He got help. This is not the role that the men in gray suit had for Harry, which they have been telling William this is what Harry will be. And Harry changed his life. And I think thanks to Meghan, okay, Harry and Meghan, I think, were, after Meghan married into the royal family, were each other's anchor. Made them see the brighter light of things. Okay, and give props to Harry because he grew up in there and he understands their tactic and everything like that. Okay, so the roles that men in gray suit were painting for each character of the royal family, for Meghan, for William, for Harry, they had a role, a character for them, for the facade, for the public. But Harry and Meghan were not playing that role. It was their lives. They did not want to pretend for the benefit of the institution who refused to protect them. So all of this play a role. So people who have listened to some of my podcasts, we could see the connection. What I have said based on the things that I've seen and read and things like that. The part about when the Queen father died, it was never written anywhere. But that's my conclusion. And when you look at how many days, and I think they said she was the most traveled monarch, whatever. She broke the record for being travel outside of the country, do engagement and things like that. There was a reason for that. Okay, when Charles was a baby, was a toddler, okay, to remove whatever Charles' father and mother would have instilled in him, they did not want that. Men in gray suit, that is. So they scheduled the Queen out of the country so Charles could stay in the UK, so they could mold him for what we are seeing right now. He is afraid. He's scared. There's something they put in him. I don't think he understands his position, the leverage. He just knows to do his savagery thing. Okay, so I went off with this. This is what I got from this paragraph, going back to some of the things that I have said in the past. Okay, he wasn't asking for a favor. He offered to pay for the arms and intelligence-backed police protection himself because a credible threat against his family. The system said that his father sit on top of said no. Okay, so whoever was advising the Charles, okay, about that, because what men in gray suit, the MAGAs, I put them the same, okay? They do not want Harry to be where what he's, for the things that he's doing. And then Charles cannot put one and one together. There's no feeling, okay? Human connection. That is stripped off of Charles, okay? The truth behind the palace warmth wishes. In reality, working for the royal family means being forced to cooperate with the very media that continues to abuse and endanger them. It's all part of the contract, and Harry refused to let his children inherit it. Okay, the media, I hope when the kids get older, they understand all of that. There's so many things I want to say about this, but knock on wood, whatever my thought is, it never happened. And I sort of said it in the past, but I don't want to repeat it. The media helped reinforce the palace narrative. And this is why Harry said, you know, whatever, the royal family usually spoon-fed the media of whatever the tabloid write. And then they said when they reach to them, there's no comment, but everything is the royal family.
Institutional role, why be so public? You say you tried to do this privately.
And every single time I've tried to do it privately, there have been briefings and leakings and planting of stories against me and my wife. You know, the family motto is never complain, never explain, but it's just a motto. And it doesn't really hold.
There's a lot of complaining and a lot of explaining.
Endless.
Private being done through leaks.
Through leaks. They will feed or have a conversation with the correspondent, and that correspondent will literally be spoon-fed information and write the story, and in the bottom of it they will say that they've reached out to Buckingham Palace for comment. But the whole story is Buckingham Palace commenting. So when we're being told for the last 6 years we can't put a statement out to protect you, but you do it for other members of the family, there becomes a point when silence is betrayal. So again, one of the reasons why I wrote this book is every word in that book is mine. And I realized that especially...
What do you mean by that?
Because the amount of unnamed sources that have fed information to the British tabloids about me and my wife and my family...
You have a source,
true
and it's you.
and not true. I am the source of that book.
All right, the royal voter quickly framed Harry as paranoid, echoing the same attack once aimed at Princess Diana. Okay, that's their blueprint. Articles question his mental state. Coverage downplayed threat against his family. When he attempted to pay for police protection out of pocket, critics accuse him of entitlement. Yeah, this is the thing. They don't want people to connect things. You're supposed to remove your brain, throw it in the garbage, and then let them put all sort of BS into your head and then carry out their narrative for them. That's what the tabloid, which is now, unfortunately, is happening in America. And I wish to give France a heads up, all right, because Bojo's sister had warned us, because the UK, the US and France newspapers are not entertaining. So to be entertained is to create a narrative for every public figures, play a role, while the real people, okay, following the facade, the role of each individual, and there's no connection and feeling that goes behind public figures when they do or vote on certain things. All they care about is their special interests. So now I don't even bother looking what's going on and in politics, because it's just a role that is being played, and when you look at it, the role that they are playing affect everybody, my life, everybody. So to keep myself sane, I just occasionally just take a pic so I could know what's going on, but disengage, because the things that they're doing is full-blown stupidity. Let's continue. All right, but the truth is clear. This wasn't about paranoia, it was about survival. The same press that hounded Diana drove Harry and Meghan into exile, then mocked their effort to protect their children. Yeah, that's the way the UK is. Camilla plays the role of the royal evil stepmother. While Prince Harry battles in court for the right to protect his wife and children, King Charles continued to show where his true loyalties lie. Long before marrying Camilla, Charles reportedly paid for her private security, drive assistant, and even her death, disguised under Duchy of Cornwall expenses, according to Norman Baker. And what do you do? All right, so I'm glad they mentioned this. I almost didn't read this article because I thought it was almost the same as the one that I did. I think that's the one that's public right now. Yeah, this one, the Telegraph article. I did a small review on that. I thought that was almost the same. I wasn't gonna read that, but new things I'm saying here. It's almost the same, but not exactly. All right. King Charles paid Camilla's sister over £1.5 million from duchy funds for private design jobs, raised conflict of interest concern. My goodness. And also, I think that Camilla woman, it's a way to put Charles into a leash. Okay, you see who's Camilla's friends. The same group of people who's writing nonsense on the tabloid about Meghan. He also established trust funds for Camilla's 2 adult children, Tom and Laura, citing the need for their financial independence, protection from media scrutiny, and heightening security risks following the marriage. Wow. And Harry has none of that. Can you imagine that? And this is why I said anything that's come from Princess Diana, there's no human connection between Charles and that. Okay? I don't know. It's a full-blown savage. The funds were framed as a gesture of care for all children and their extended blended family. Unfortunately, Prince Harry never had the chance to experience what it's like to have a loving stepfather like Charles. When Harry left for college, Camilla converted his bedroom into her personal dressing room. The message wasn't subtle. Harry said that in one of those interviews. But let's focus on that. You know what? For the sake of that, I'll put a screenshot, but listen.
She was the villain. She was the third person in the marriage. She needed to rehabilitate her image.
You and your brother both directly asked your dad not to marry Camilla.
Yes.
Why?
We didn't think it was necessary. We thought that it was going to cause more harm than good. And that if he was now with his person, that surely that's enough. Why go that far when you don't necessarily need to? We wanted him to be happy, and we saw how happy he was with her. So at the time, it was okay.
You wrote that she started a campaign in the British press to pave the way for a marriage, and you wrote, I even wanted Camilla to be happy. Maybe she'd be less dangerous if she was happy.
Mm-hmm.
How was she dangerous?
Because of the need for her to rehabilitate her image.
That made her dangerous.
That made her dangerous because of the connections that she was forging within the British press. And there was open willingness on both sides to trade of information. And with a family built on hierarchy, and with her on the way to being Queen Consort, there was going to be people or bodies left in the street because of that.
Harry says over the years he was one of those bodies. He accuses Camilla and even his father at times of using him or William to get better tabloid coverage for themselves. Prince Harry writes, Camilla, quote, sacrificed me on her personal PR altar.
If you are led to believe as a member of the family that being on the front page, having positive headlines, positive stories written about you is going to improve your reputation or increase the chances of you being accepted as monarch by the British public, then that's what you're going to do.
All right. So there's that. Let's pause this. Let's move it out. Okay, Camilla has stepped comfortably into her role as the royal family's real-life wicked stepmother. It wasn't enough to destroy one family by making Princess Diana's life a misery through an infamous affair. Now, and this is what we should have been talking about while they are the, king and queen. But that's not what we're talking about. That's not what the headline is talking about. So all of this might be orchestrated, manufactured by her as well. Okay, her children from a previous marriage benefit from Charles' financial generosity, while Diana's youngest son is denied even the basic right to pay for police protection. I don't know, it's up to the UK. Charles claims to be a caring grandfather, yet he has allowed Meghan, Harry, and their children, his biracial grandchildren, to face death threats without proper security. The same man who once failed to protect Diana has now repeated history with her son. And this is why Harry is doing all of this, so people could know the truth. It's not Princess Diana who did not want security. They deny her that so they could do what they did to her. Camilla entered adulthood and received without question everything Prince Harry now has to fight tooth and nail to secure. The monarchy cannot hide from this betrayal. Harry did not choose this life. Born into the monarchy, he inherited a lifetime of risk from childhood. He was trailed by police. I think in one interview he said something like that. Even at school, it was like something he grew up with. Wherever he goes, the protection was there for him. But all of a sudden, they cut it. It's just not fair. I didn't know this was going to be long. Harry did not choose this life. Born into the monarchy, he inherited a lifetime of risk from childhood. He was trailed by police. That did not stop when he left the royal payroll. His military service, fame, and family connection still make him a target. The palace wants to keep Harry and Meghan in a state of limbo. Yep, that's exactly that. Protected when useful, abandoned when inconvenient. That's exactly that. This is the perfect sentence. Yes. The goal is to control their movement, their choices, and ultimately their independence and the control of movement. Once they were aware they were going to be in New York for that award Meghan was going to receive, and you see what happened.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Guys, stand up. Guys, I need some space, please.
Yes, sir.
Guys, let's get some space, okay? Let's get some space. If you don't mind, okay?
They'll go straight. They turn.
Part of the security detail. He used to be with the Secret Service. He told me, I've never experienced anything like this. What we were dealing with was very chaotic. There were about a dozen vehicles, cars, scooters and bicycles. The public were in jeopardy at several points. It could have been fatal. So that's what they were dealing with, Brianna, and they're clearly very shaken up.
Happened very close to here when we were leaving the building yesterday. There was nothing but cameras all over the place, and I was trying to figure out what happened. And I guess she was leaving the ballroom, but they said that the paparazzi allegedly hit like 6, 7 cars over there, and they said it was a big thing.
That's what we were told yesterday. Cause
they said they hit the cars.
Yeah. We were told that yesterday. We were told that the paparazzi was going around the block because I guess she was in a building over here. She was in an event over here.
What is it? The Siegfried Ballroom over there? Yeah, something.
Yeah, and they was like paparazzi was hitting cars. Yeah, trying to get a picture of her.
Trying to get the picture, which is weird because in New York City you really don't see wild paparazzi crazy like that chasing people because you see so many people. You don't really have that, here. But
y'all losing y'all damn mind over Meghan Markle. Come on, stop.
Well, they allegedly said it was no actual collision, so I don't know if they meant hit resulting in an injury or accident or what.
These were parked cars.
Parked cars.
Yeah, these were
parked cars.
Yeah. The security told us that yesterday. Security literally told us yesterday. Meghan Markle was at the ballroom or whatever last night. Ballroom, the paparazzi kept going around in circles just to get a picture of her, and they was hitting parked cars.
Yeah.
I heard that before I even heard from the mayor.
Okay.
The way I saw them follow the car, I wasn't surprised by the headlines. They actually went in from the side entrance. They didn't come in from the front red carpet entrance. Me and a couple other supporters ran to the back to kind of catch them walking in because we saw all the paparazzi running to the back suddenly. And it became pretty aggressive. The paparazzi had access to the garage from where they were entering, and they were being kind of manhandled by the bodyguards to prevent them from getting too close to the Sussexes. And the entire time, a lot of the paparazzi were heckling Meghan and Harry and making just negative comments, trying to get a reaction out of them. As they were leaving, just the way they chased the car, it just reminds you of like all the other scenes you've seen in the past.
Okay, and this is why I said God was with them that day, and it allowed the police, the NYPD in New York, to provide security for them when they will be making public engagement. All right, so that was one good thing that they get out of that chase, because afterward, the police, NYPD, said they will provide police protection for them, not because they have the fund for it, is due to public safety, because that incident that happened in New York, a lot of people could have died or injured because the paparazzi were going berserk. That was the first time New York had experienced that. There's a lot of celebrities that live in New York. There was one time I went to the 18th Street Barnes & Noble in Manhattan. One of those actors I think he was either in front of me. I recognized him, but I didn't remember his name. He looked at me like, he didn't say anything to me. But it's like, you could see from his eyes, it's like, don't make a big deal out of that. He didn't say that to me, but that's what I got. and I give him a nod, like I recognize you, and then I just stand behind him until when he was the next person in line to go pay for whatever book he bought, and then I wait until it was my turn. There's a lot of celebrities that's in New York. I cross paths with many of them. My husband, there's a place he was working, cross path with a whole bunch of different celebrities. But you never hear any of these nonsense that happened when Harry and Meghan were in New York. So because of that specific incident, now they said they will provide them with security. I'm assuming is when they do public engagement, similar to, I guess when they visit the World Trade Center, that particular type of things. All right. But let's continue. But Harry refuses to be silent. Whether he wins or loses, disappear, he has already exposed the rat at the heart of the institution. That's exactly that. All right. His case forces the world to reckon with the monarchy's willingness to weaponize security against its own. And for that alone, this fight matters. Exactly. As Prince Harry fans of political groups like the Heritage Foundation, okay, that's also an extension of what's happening in the US. That's an extension of the UK, the royal family, into the US. Okay? The same group. This is the connection. Okay? The connection with the MAGAs and the royal family and the type of political group in the US, in the UK. All right? The Heritage Foundation is the connection. They pretty much gave us what we have now. Alright, trying to exile him from the United States, he also faces a royal system determined to deny him safety unless he submits. The battle isn't just in courtroom, it's in every corridor of power that still sees him as a threat for choosing freedom. That's a very, very good article. The link will be in the description. I know I talk a lot. Maybe this should be a video by itself. Maybe that's what I'll do. I thought it was going to be a quick thing. All right, let me read some of the comments under there, and then I'll do another video for the rest of the tweet that I have in the on my list. Okay, you left out a recent purchase. Quote, King Charles has snapped up a sprawling property next door to his wife Queen Camilla's vacation home over safety concern. The king forked out £3.8 million on the Old Mill estate in Wiltshire, England. Okay, I wasn't aware of that, but there it is here. She turned his bedroom into a closet. She is the evil stepmother we read about in fairy tales. Alright, he walked away from the life. The police, as far as I know, are not his security company. Let me go into that. There's 6 comments into it. For her concern of private bodyguards, okay, he is still the king's son and has high threat level to death threats from white supremacists. Also, the media have radicalized people to hate him and his family. He wants to pay for it, but needs armed protection. In UK, the police are the only ones that can carry guns. All right, yeah, okay. So this is a deranger. So let me not waste time on this. I don't even have time to finish record all the things that I have on the list anyway. Okay, who give a F? Well, it does, because when things happen, you don't know if you're gonna be at the crosshair. All right, this is the thing that happened in the U.S. in New York. I even said it when that happened. You probably get up one morning, you minding your own business, doing your thing. You don't know about Harry and Meghan, this type of thing. You're just minding your own business, going to work to pay the bills, whatever. And then that chase happened. You don't know if you would have been at the crosshair of this paparazzi who's trying to get a shot. Okay? It does matter. All right? There's all of that. So let's take a time to... I didn't want to go into it, but black. But anyway, we're going to get those type of responses from these people. So let's see here. Let's do a prayer. There was one that let's do a prayer. Yeah, for protection and guidance. Let's put guidance, because as Harry move around, he needs guidance. As much as he needs protection, he needs guidance. All right, let's read what's there, and then I'll do another video with the rest of the list. A prayer for protection and guidance can be a personal control. Okay, so it's explaining. I just want the prayer. Let's do the first one. Father, here I am before your throne with a heavy heart and an anxious mind. Come, Lord, and fill me with your holy presence. Let me rest and be at peace. Let me feel your protection. Let me feel as if I'm under the shadow of your wings, safe, hidden, and secure in you. Only you can give and take it all. I pray, Father, please take my fear away and give me your peace that surpasses all understanding. You know that my life is in your hands. My trust and my hope is on you alone. Father, thank you. In the name of Jesus, amen. Alright, so that is it. Please take a moment to subscribe, like, and share. If you want to support this channel, there's a PayPal link and a Cash App link in the description. You could donate. Those who have donated, thank you. So I almost did not read that article because I did a review of this Telegraph article, but it's slightly different. You could sort of compare and contrast the same information, but the writer of this article sort of gave you a little bit more compare and contrast the way the royal family operate, about Charles and Camilla's getting security and all of that. So that's a little bit more insight of things people who may not know. And then I went on with my rant and my humble opinion about the Queen's father pass and all of that. So there's a bit more information on in this than that video that I did. Okay, so that's it. I'm gonna continue recording, but it will be on another video. Thank you for watching. I'm gonna go on vacation next weekend, and all of us are sick, and let's hope we feel better before that vacation. Thank you for watching.
It is a great privilege to be with all of you today.
You know, we ask for forgiveness and please come back.
As you saw me find the love and happiness that I'd hoped for all my life.